Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wobbly Walker Wednesday with Wendy. It's actually Mommy Minute with Wendy, and I'm here on Instagram. Hello, Instagram, and up there with Facebook. Hello, Facebook. And today, with our Wobbly Walkers, we get to talk about shoes. The best thing to know is barefoot is best. And so, when you are inside the house, definitely taking those shoes off and letting your little one run around with bare feet would be best. And the reason why that's best is because just like every other set of muscles in our body, when we provide support to those muscles, they turn off. And so I'm sitting here in a chair that's got a high back. So if I were to lean back on this chair, then I wouldn't need to use the muscles that hold me up against gravity because the chair would be doing it. If I were to sit on a ball, I would have to incorporate a lot more muscles to be able to stay upright because the ball is an unstable surface. And I get to use those muscles to not fall off the ball. So same sort of thing with shoes. Our little babies are just learning how to use their feet as balancing tools and walking to and from. And so we want them to be able to use their feet the most active way possible. And when we put shoes on them that have any sort of support, which sometimes even blocks movement, then the muscles turn off because they're not needed. Now, the caveat to this is if your child ends up having super uber low tone or flat feet, then they may need a little bit more support from a shoe, sometimes even an orthotic, but definitely have a therapist, a physical therapist, look at that to see if it's required. But otherwise, barefoot is best because what's going to end up happening is as your baby's walking around, they're going to come across different surfaces that are warm or cold or soft or hard or uneven, and sometimes even if pebbles are small and a little bit jagged or rocks are bigger. When you're barefoot, your foot can totally accommodate to the surface, and you get the full feeling of pressure throughout the entire base of your sole, from your heel to your toe and from the insole all the way to the outside across the ball of your foot. And what all of the sensory input does is it tells your body how you need to balance and what your foot needs to do so that you don't fall over. When you have shoes on, that sensory input is muted. Just like any other clothing that you have over your skin, it ends up being a barrier to sensory input. And so we want them to have the richest sensory input possible. And so that is, so barefoot is therefore best. If your baby stands and you're looking at their heel from behind, and their heel is not vertical, if it's tilted out a lot, that is calcaneal eversion. That is the collapse of the heel, and it usually goes along with what you would consider a very flat foot where there's absolutely no arch. And sometimes if it's severe enough, the outside of the foot will actually lift up off the ground. And so in those cases, especially when the kiddos, the outside of their foot is lifting off the ground, you see that they're clawing with their toes a lot for more stability. That child might need a little bit more support. So if you're seeing that in your children, talking to your pediatrician about getting an evaluation with a pediatric physical therapist would be awesome and ideal. If your child has that straight up and down heel or just slight eversion, and when they come up on their tippy toes, you see that heel come in, so the heel would swing in a little bit, so that's called inversion, and that's in towards midline. So the bottom part of the heel is in towards the middle of the body. If you see your child getting through that swing of the heel when they're up on their tippy toes, that's a very good sign that the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, which is your calf muscle, is working really well. So we really want those muscles to be able to work throughout the whole gait cycle and with balance. And so again, going back to barefoot is best. If you just kind of think about barefoot is best. Now, when you're going outside, the first thing to consider is the safety of the area where you're in. So looking around to make sure that you don't have sharp glass, sharp rocks, sharp anything that would cut your child or burn your child. My sister's daughter, my niece, several years ago, they were doing an Easter egg hunt out on the grass, and everyone thinks grass is great, no, there's not going to be anything foreign in grass that's really going to hurt someone. Well, this one lawn had a manhole cover, and it was in the middle of the desert. And so she actually stepped on the manhole cover and burned the bottom of her feet. And so, you want to just be very aware of the safety of surroundings. But when you're outside, and shoes are a must in order to be safe from burns and abrasions, scratches, stuff like that, you want to find a shoe that allows for the most motion in the foot. So a moccasin with a leather-based bottom is really best. Sometimes a sock is fine, but really the least invasive shoe is ideal. If you want to go one step higher into what's a more traditional, like Mary Jane or tennis shoe or something really cute, the really important thing, and I wish I had a shoe with me to show you, but the really important thing to think about or to test on the shoe is when you push on the toe of the shoe. I'm going to drop my phone here for a second. Sorry if it ends up going sideways. Okay, there we go. So if, here's the shoe. If you push on the toe of the shoe, what you want to see is a break right where the ball of your foot would be. You don't want it to be stiff. You want it to be really easily broken there. And the reason why that's important is because the part of the gait cycle where the foot is behind you, we artificially lengthen our legs, so therefore lengthen our step by coming up onto our toes. So basically what you're looking for in the child is that they go through that part of the gait cycle where what it would look like is them coming up on their toes, but they're just doing it on one side at a time. And so you want them to be able to access that full range of motion of extension through the toes at the ball of the foot when they're walking. And the reason why that's so important is because that part of the gait cycle, which is called terminal stance, that part of the gait cycle is the highest demand on the calf muscle than any other muscle in the entire body at any other time of the gait cycle. That's it. Terminal stance, coming up onto the toe on one leg, your calf muscle is holding you up. So we want to make sure as baby is developing their calf muscle in walking, that they are going through that full range of motion at the ball of their foot, so that calf muscle can continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Because just like everything else, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so really make sure that those shoes have a very soft toe and one that breaks really easily. And you'll find, surprisingly, there are a lot of shoes out there that don't break at all. They're very rigid in the sole. So especially when kiddos are very young, 0 to 3, and they don't weigh very much, they're not going to be able to overpower a lot of these shoes. And then a lot of the shoes, when they do break, they break in the wrong place. And so you're really not going to be getting that full range of motion. And so when you're outside, the key is barefoot is best as long as you're in a safe environment. If you've determined that it is not safe for whatever reason to be barefoot, the shoes that are best are those that have a very soft leather bottom that can accommodate to surfaces well and can allow for the full range of motion throughout the full gait cycle for your child. And that is what you're going to get with every step that your child takes. With every step that they take, you're going to get turning on muscles, turning off muscles, muscles elongating, muscles shortening. And this is how the foot develops, is every step that they take develops the foot. It takes 6 years. Like, assuming that your child starts walking at 12 months, a child does not have a full mature gait that looks like an adult until they are 7 years old. And so it takes 6 years of walking to get there. And that's a lot of steps. I should probably actually do that calculation so that I have that next time for you guys. But that is a lot of steps. And so the more of those steps that can be taken without full support as done by a shoe, the better, because you're going to get those muscles turning on and the foot shaping and the arches developing and all the muscles getting stronger and balance getting better, and everything that we're looking for a solid first foundation for our kids for every movement that comes forward that has anything to do with standing. So barefoot best, shoes that protect but are soft. And then if you're getting a harder bottom shoe, making sure that they bend at the ball of the foot, and you're good to go. So let me know if that helped you at all today. Give me some likes, give me some loves, share this, and then if there are any comments or questions, shoot them down below, and I will be sure to address those at another time. But again, today, thank you for coming to Mommy Minute with Wendy, and today was all about our Wobbly Walker Wednesday. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for Transformation Thursday. Okay, bye.